Welcome back to the News at 10 in sports news, and we start with football. Nigeria Domestic League champions Kano Pillars this evening defeated Dolphins of Port Harcourt 2-0 in the enlarged Super 4 pre-season tournament at the Abuja National Stadium. The league champions showed their title intent in the coming season with early strikes from Samuel Swansa in the 6th minute and another from one of the off-season recruits, Christian Obiozo, in the 9th minute to secure maximum points. Meanwhile, the Flying Eagles stunned the Super 4 defending champions Enyimba Vaba by 2-0. Captain Musa Mohammed scored from the penalty spot in the 62nd minute, while Musa Yahaya got the second on the stroke of regulation time. It was a day of upsets in the English FA Cup. English Premier League champions, defending champions, that is, Manchester City, was sent packing following a 2-0 loss at home to Championship side Middlesbrough. Patrick Bamford, who is on loan from Chelsea, scored the opening goal, and Spain's Keke added a late second as the City side, containing the likes of Sergio Aguero and David Silva, drew a humiliating blank. Manuel Pellegrini's side, who returned from a 5-day warm weather training trip to Abu Dhabi on Friday evening, were unimpressive in the second half against a side who thoroughly deserved their victory. On the foreign scene, following recent incidents of police killings in the United States, believed to be in some quarters to be racially motivated, the U.S. has been under scrutiny by the UN and other world organizations for its policing practices. Our Washington correspondent Maria Bird provides insight into how the U.S. is responding to the call for change.
Right here at the museum, national law enforcement leaders convened to discuss policing in America. This urgent meeting was called by the president as the White House has been forced to respond to the murders of Michael Brown, Eric Garner, and the 2 New York police officers, as these murders and others have incited civic leaders, activists, and civilians to express their frustration with the community's relationship with the police through national protests and marches in various cities across the United States. In the wake of the protests, President Obama is looking for ways to improve the criminal justice system, to fortify public trust in the system, as the question becomes, how can the United States create accountability?
The biggest thing is education, and so educating, I think, our community on kind of the benefits of working in law enforcement and working with law enforcement, and then definitely educating law enforcement to make sure that they're focused on community policing, focused on building the relationship. If you want to talk about some of the, I guess, other ways that we could go about addressing some of the, I guess, inequities that were there in the Michael Brown case, we've been looking at maybe allowing families to bring private lawsuits against alleged police officers in the case that the grand jury doesn't choose to indict the officer. And so things like that, writing those bills, getting those things out to our network of young elected officials are ways that impact is making a positive difference on this issue, but then it's a way that we can certainly make a positive difference with any other issue that's facing our community.
Last month, President Barack Obama signed an executive order establishing a task force on 21st century policing. The task force seeks to identify best practices and make recommendations to the president on how policing practices can promote effective crime reduction while building public trust, fostering strong collaborative relationships between the local law enforcement and the communities they protect. The task force is directed to provide an initial report on recommendations to the president by March 2nd of 2015. The task force is initiating a public engagement process aimed at gaining and promoting an expertise from stakeholders to inform and advise as the task force develops recommendations. President Obama announced the task force as a massive demonstration sprouted in cities across the country protesting the high-profile grand jury cases. The panel includes 11 community leaders, law enforcement officials, and scholars tasked with providing specific recommendations on how to foster effective partnerships between law enforcement and local communities to reduce crime and build trust. President Obama's plan to strengthen community policing by reforming the way federal government equips the law enforcement, particularly with military-style equipment, investing and increasing the use of bodily worn cameras, and promoting to provide community policing initiatives. Engage law enforcement and communities in devising new ways to reduce crime while building the public trust. From Washington, D.C., Maria Bird, Channels Television News.
Violence continues in eastern Ukraine, where at least 15 people have been killed in a series of rocket attacks in the government-held port of Mariupol. Police say pro-Russian rebels fired the Grad rockets into a market in a residential area in the east of the city. But a spokesman for the rebels has denied that they had any involvement in the attack, calling it blatant misinformation. More than 5,000 people have died in fighting in the east since April. And the main news again, violence today marred a planned rally by the All Progressives Congress in Okrika River State, and the State Police Commissioner has warned politicians against the breaking of the law. And that's it on the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Olumide Macaulay. From all of us here, do have a good night.